Full disclosure, we're already pretty buzzed.
I'd like to propose a toast.
Welcome to Wines and Dolls, a podcast where Chelsea and Emily whine and talk about musicals. Welcome.
Wine is a double entendre.
Hi, Stinky. I've had a shot of eggnog and whiskey.
When you pull a cider out of your backpack.
Did you really just pull she just pulled a cider out of her backpack?
Pork rinds.
Good for you.
And 2 bottles of water.
I'm really proud of you. Do you want
Stay
to
hydrated while you drink on the
I'm looking
go.
for my fucking pencil.
Oh, there's a man here.
This is James.
Take your shot.
I know. The voice does not match the legend.
I didn't quite catch your name. Can you say it one more time?
James.
Welcome. So we're talking about Little Shop of Horrors today. Now raise your hand if you were ever a high school student and you did this show.
I raised my hand before you said did this show.
Raise your hand if you were ever a high school student. Great.
Me.
Thank you, Emily.
That's not gonna work.
I mean, who hasn't done this show in high school? I'm pretty sure most theater kids have done
everybody
this
except
show.
Emily. Today we're talking about Little Shop of Horrors, and we took a shot earlier for our patrons.
That was so
we
gross.
live streamed a shot and a drink. I made a drink for our patrons, for us really, but if you would like to know how to make that drink, it is called, we called it many names. It's really known as a poinsettia.
The drink of many names.
The drink of men. It's like, oh, we need to do Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. It was red and yellow and green and brown.
And so we make the red drink.
black and
Wait,
gold.
that's
Anyway,
not what we're talking about.
We're not talking about Joseph. Today we are talking about Joseph. No, we're not. We're talking about Little Shop of Horrors. So for our Patreons today, and you are welcome to become a Patreon member, and you can see how I made the drinks.
Yeah, it's up there for the rest of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
With our
Well, speaking
Nibbler?
and so, sorry, my cat is like fucking with our stuff. Today
become a patron member and we'll get new stuff.
James, drink.
James.
Several times now, Jesus.
Mm-hmm. The drink that I made this evening was called the Get It /
No, it was Feed Me.
It was the Feed Me
You named
Seymour.
it- This is now it has 4
Mean
names.
Red Mother from Outer Space.
Mean Red Mother from Outer Space / Get It, because I want to get this drink in my mouth.
Got it?
Got it?
Good.
And then I made something that was not so good. It was I called it lovingly the chiffon.
Yeah.
Chiffon is one of our
I said
urchins.
it should be called the urchin.
It could be called the urchin.
It was with the crack and rum.
It was Kraken rum and a shot of eggnog, alcoholic eggnog, which was, I think I did it wrong. It was disgusting.
It was so bad.
Really bad. But the eggnog by itself was great. So we'll call it the virgin. No, it's not even virgin.
Just call it
the urchin is without the Kraken and
No, the urchin is with the kraken.
oh, the urchin is
Because
with the Kraken.
is what makes it an urchin.
It's the chiffon that makes it just the eggnog with the rum that was in it before, because it goes down smooth. Ooh.
Phrasing?
Damn, and on that note, let's start into our episode.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Chelsea.
Hey, Emily.
What are you whining about today?
Ooh, lordy. Today I am whining. Actually, I've got a good wine, and then I've got a little negative wine. I'm not going to go into detail.
I've got a wine too.
You've got a wine too?
Oh
Ooh,
my
we got
gosh.
3 wines tonight.
3
so
wines.
this is my positive wine. My positive wine is I ended a...
Keep it positive.
Keep it positive. I ended a 6-session residency with the Houston Grand Opera today. Altogether, we had 4 classes that we put on this big performance. They had to write their own song, and then they all had to perform a song. And the topic was the Revolutionary War that they had to write a song about. So that was a huge freaking success. The kids did great.
Like, is your negative the lyrics to the song?
No, I mean, the negative was that they put us out on the blacktop. Like, we were supposed to be in the cafetorium. Remember that word that we learned last time? We were supposed to be in the cafetorium, and they ended up putting us on the blacktop, which ended up being
Blacktop,
nice.
like outside?
Outside, yeah.
Ugh.
In their recess area. So like I was teaching the kids how to project, and then all of a sudden they throw us outside, and I'm like, well, do we have a microphone option? So we did get the microphones because they were supposed to read a play as well. We had a group of kids that were the good
How long was
readers.
the performance?
About 20 minutes.
No, it wasn't too bad.
No. It was great. It was such a huge success. Message me if you want to know how to bring the Houston Grand Opera to your school.
Or
'Cause,
email
like,
winesandolls@gmail.com.
Email winesandolls@gmail.com, and I'll tell you how you can. I'll send you to my boss, and she can tell you how to bring out the Houston Grand Opera to your school in a residency. It's really awesome. James, what is your wine
What are you
about
whining
today?
about,
You got a
James?
negative wine? That's
Yeah,
usually what mine
I
are.
guess it's a little bit. I just was noticing that both of you have notes and all of these things written out about topics of conversation, and I was told about this about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah.
And dragged into this.
Well,
So
Chelsea and I had talked about
I am
it.
completely
We
and
did. We just
totally
we didn't tell
unprepared.
him. That's okay. It's
Listen.
fine. But he doesn't need to be prepared because he's got a story that he's going to tell
James
us.
is popping the cherry on having our first guest.
Popping some cherries, James.
Swing.
See, look, you're funny. You don't need notes. All right, and Emily, what are you whining about today?
Wait, what are you? Is that what you whined about? Is us?
Yes.
You son of a bitch.
Dick. What am I whining about today?
We'll never have anybody back on the show ever again.
No, ever. You ruined it, James.
You were going to whine about...
You're welcome.
You
I
remember?
have so many things to whine about. Oh yeah, the traffic.
But
But
when is
so
it bad, Emily? When is traffic bad?
so I was supposed to be at Chelsea's house at 5:30, and I left at 5:10 in traffic. And
That's okay, because I was like, I could use a nap.
6 p.m.
I didn't mind.
I was gonna whine about the explosion in Houston. I'm pretty sure Houston is falling apart.
I'm pretty sure that the
So,
world
like,
is
everyone
falling
in
apart.
Me up this morning.
Houston
She
woke
didn't
up.
feel it at all.
Yeah.
The whole house shook though.
A lot of people's houses, like, did you see like the windows
Crazy.
are blown out?
Yeah.
And somebody texted me and they're like, "Oh, I have to go check my roof for body parts to make sure there's no evidence and debris."
What?
Up. Yeah,
It actually ruined some people's
don't know who that
houses.
is.
Yeah.
yeah, it, like completely ruined.
2 people are dead now. I'm sure we'll hear more about that.
So
in
there
the
was a
next
lot
few
of
days.
traffic in Houston, mostly because there's a part of Houston that's like cut off.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's always traffic in Houston, no matter rain or shine or explosions.
I'm really.
And that's my T-shirt for today.
That's her t-shirt. She's not whining about the explosion because, sorry, if you lost a loved one, that's
Oh
really
no,
awful.
the explosion! I am whining that there was even an explosion that happened. 'Cause
Right.
that sucks.
It wasn't even at a place where
But-
they were doing anything super dangerous
They
either.
think that somebody started it. It's like they think it might have been arson. That's why if
they
there's
didn't.
if there's like debris or anything, you're not supposed to touch it because it's evidence.
I saw or I read that the police chief said they're investigating. There are criminal investigators coming out,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they don't think it's arson. They think it's like a
Propylene.
propylene, that thing.
But no,
Like
but
an
the fact
accident.
that is that they are still checking to see if it's criminal because it wasn't a cut and dry. Is it arson or is it not?
Well, I guess they have to do that with every case.
They didn't do that over in Baytown.
Oh, because it's a chemical plant.
Chemical plant.
Chemical
exploded.
plant. They're gonna explode.
Also,
Chemical plant's gonna explode.
Well, I don't know what that means.
money.
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 Money makes the world go around, the world go around, the world go. James's face right now. Hi, Patreon members. You can see it because we're recording it. He's like, "What are y'all singing?" That is from Cabaret, sir. James and Greg built a beautiful set for Cabaret. Just side note. Okay.
We're starting on She Loves Me tomorrow.
Oh,
Quite
they're building
possibly.
She Loves Me. Yeah.
That one's going to be really cool.
All right, so we are talking about Little Shop of Horrors.
Are we ready?
Ready.
Okay. Little Shop of
Shop of
Horrors.
Horrors.
I printed
Horrors.
out my horrors.
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 Otherwise, we're whores.
As opposed to Big
that's-
Store of Happiness.
Yes. Little Shop of.
Horrors,
Horrors.
as opposed to Big Store of Happiness.
Is that on a T-shirt somewhere?
Yes,
Where do
it
you
should
get
be.
this stuff?
This is his brain.
This is
Oh
me.
my gosh. James contributed to the brainchild that was Wines and Dolls because he sent a whole bunch of names and punny things. Ultimately landed on Wines and Dolls, which was my idea.
You should
but
put all of those on a T-shirt. for your Patreon
Well,
members.
The Sound of Bitters
Hey, the Sound of Bitters
was a good one. That was still me. All the other ones were
Sound
yours.
of Bitters?
Sound of Bitters was me, and Wines and Dolls was me. But then James had a lot of good in betweens. So Little Shop of Horrors. I've only ever seen it 3 times.
That's more than most.
No, but I've never been in it. And I saw it 3 times, all in the same year, all in Houston, Texas, because everyone did it.
This
Yep.
past year.
It was, it was like 2 years ago, but it wasn't all like Houston proper. So the first time I saw it was actually up in Sci-Fair at Stageworks.
That's the one I was in. You saw me.
Oh, I saw you? Well, they didn't actually have a plant, so I feel like I was missing out because the plant was a drag queen.
Oh, I thought it was brilliant.
I mean, it was good, but there was a drag queen, so I was like, the puppet's there's no puppet, which is something I probably would try and direct. Anyways.
If you want to see the puppet, have you ever seen the original 80s musical?
Yeah.
Like the movie?
I haven't, that's actually,
Steve. Let
No,
her
no,
talk. Let her talk a second.
wait, James, hold on. Then I saw it at CCT, and that's where I did see the plant. They had 4 urchins, and I think they were all white people.
Typically.
I said the 4 whatchamacallits, and that's what I wrote on my piece of paper. And then I saw it at Stages, where it was in a Thrust stage, and that was a beautiful production. But what I came out like learning about this musical was anyone who is playing the plant. Chelsea's spilling Andre right now. What I learned about the plant though is that the plant always has skinny legs. And I actually wrote, they must leave with an awesome ass from squats and great upper body strength. Would you say that's how you left when you played the plant, James?
No.
James has a great story about when he was the puppeteer.
So I was a puppeteer in high school for Little Shop of Horrors. It was my second musical I was ever a part of. And of course my school was poor, so they always reached out to the community to get all of the props and everything like that. We built our own sets, but we always, for Little Shop, it's like you have to have the puppet,
Yeah, the well, unless it's a drag queen. But I guess in high school, maybe you're not doing the drag queen.
High school, yeah. High school in the 90s, you were early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
Yeah.
Are you revealing your age to us?
Yeah, a little bit. Anyway, so they had reached out and they had gotten all of our plant costumes from other schools. And the one that we had gotten had been gently used, is what they called it. But it had been shoved in several different storage centers and had, very honestly not been treated well. And
Gently used, poorly stored.
Yes, and probably hard used, not gently used, because it was gross.
Hard used.
But also, I think that the original one had been made by children because it was a 45-degree triangular ramp, and the bottom of the plant mouth sat on the ramp, and the top of the head was, connected to that, and the entire top of the head was chicken wire with like paper mache on top of it, because that's super secure.
That's the best way to create anything is chicken wire.
And several of
paper
the
mache.
chicken wire apparently over the years had been like kind of peeling away from the actual paper mache. So they untwisted the little wire knots just large enough to fit screws into them and then screwed it back into the actual paper mache.
Ooh.
Which, as anybody probably can guess, is not super stable or sturdy in any way. So we had issues of like, I had this really big bar that ran across the back of the head, and that was what I used to actually lift and manipulate the plant. And we'd had issues with like the plant head kind of would contract and move in weird ways.
We get like a
because
crossbite.
the 2 actually weren't hinged into each other. It was just 2 free moving parts.
Yeah.
But then also the chicken wire was pulling away from the actual paper mache. So on closing night, the entire actual right side of the plant completely ripped off while I was in the middle of manipulating the head. And the chicken wire and several screws stabbed into my upper arm. I actually still have the scar somewhere. And I started bleeding profusely inside of the plant costume on closing night. And so I just said, screw it. And let go of the bar, took my hands, and I braced the inside of the paper mache, and I was just doing full body squats for the rest of the show. And the the bar itself had actually ripped off in the scene where I was about to eat Seymour, so I only probably had about like 5 minutes left of being on stage. Our director, who was in the audience after the show, came backstage and was like, hey, congratulations on, oh my gosh, what happened to your arm? Because there's blood everywhere and they're wrapping up my arm. And I was like, yeah, the entire inside of the thing ripped out. They went and they investigated, and she came back and was like, well,
They investigated.
At least you couldn't tell from the audience side of things
All right.
that this thing fell apart.
Thank you for sharing that terrible, awful story with us, James.
I literally bled for the theater.
You bled.
High school directors, make sure your students don't bleed literally for
I
the
just like
theater.
I still imagine just like your blood dripping from Audrey 2's mouth,
Which
and
is
being
like Audrey
oh god,
drooling.
like drooling. blood.
Audrey 2 is drooling blood.
Like
I
wow,
don't
that
think it was quite
cornstarch.
that much. Like,
Wow, how realistic.
Wow.
Wow.
It wasn't that much. No, we're not. He got attacked by a tiger, and so now he has this really great scar on his arm.
Yeah,
it's not
really
because he got
sexy.
screwed.
He didn't get screwed by a plant.
Thank you so much,
You're welcome.
James, for that story. I'm gonna go back. So I would say that you probably left that show with the beginnings of an awesome ass and a great upper body.
I would agree.
Chelsea would agree.
Thank you, honey. Are you comfy? Are you comfy now?
Yeah,
For
so-
everyone who is very confused as to the sound bites you just heard, our couch has a electric recliner in it.
It has an electric recliner, and now my feet are just above the table, but not quite touching the table. I love this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The background stinky's up, and this is
Fine, just ignore him. It's
So the
fine.
background on this show, the music is by no other than Alan Menken.
Alan Menken.
Duh. And lyrics and book are by Howard Ashman. Now, James asked me if I had seen the original 1980s musical.
Wrong.
It was
1960s.
actually not even a musical, though, in 1960s, right?
Right.
You did
so,
the
So they
research.
did a remake.
Yeah, it was just a black comedy, and it was a low-budget 1960s black comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they based it on. So when Alan Menken caught hold that they wanted to write this, he made it in the style, so the music was in the style of the 1960s rock and roll, doo-wop, and early Motown. But it didn't actually premiere until 1982 is when it was. Yeah, well, it's like the musical was, but it wasn't a movie
musical.
yet.
Yeah.
That's the one with what's his face.
With Steve Martin
Yeah.
and
Wait.
what's the
I got that.
Let her do it.
Let me do it. So first, they didn't premiere off. It was Off-Broadway that it premiered in 1982. So I wrote down what Off-Broadway means for the kids out there.
For me.
Off-Broadway means it's a movement that began in 1958 as complete rejection of commercial theater. That was the idea. But Off-Broadway is theatrical productions in New York that are anti-commercial and experimental or avant-garde, and they're in theaters that are smaller than Broadway or off-Broadway, and they usually have fewer than 100 seats. I'm thinking like La Mama is off-Broadway, but I'm pretty sure it's considered off-Broadway.
Okay, I don't know what that is, but okay.
La Mama is, anyways, there's some theater troupes that do stuff there, but so it premiered off-Broadway in 1982, but then it moved to the Orpheum Theater off-Broadway, where it did a 5-year run. I could not find what theater off-Broadway it was on.
Probably torn down by this point.
I have no idea. I couldn't find that anywhere. So if you know, let me know. But the musical was then also made after the 5-year run. It was, well, during, I guess, the 5-year run. They made it into a movie of the same name, and it was 1986. They filmed it, and that was
the year
directed.
before I was born.
And now we know how old Chelsea is.
You knew that before.
I did, and that was directed by Frank Oz. So the
The
off-Broadway,
Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
frankly, no.
Cheers!
That
Yay,
was a good
plastic
joke.
cheers. That was good.
So
We're funny.
God. So the off-Broadway cast, the original cast, Seymour. I never knew Seymour had a last name. but it's
Krelborn.
Krelborn.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. But it's Lee Wilkov, and then Audrey was Ellen Green. Mr. Mushnick was Hy Ansel. Oren narrator. Oren. I also didn't know Oren had a last name.
Oren Scrivello.
Scrivello.
DDM.
So Oren Scrivello
/ narrator.
He was
/
also
wino.
narrator and a wino number 2, customer radio announcer Bernstein, Mrs.
Loose, yeah.
Oh, okay, got it. Skip Snip, and Patrick Martin. That was all Frank Lutz, or Lutz.
Frank Luz.
It's
Luz, L-U-Z.
It's FRANCLUZ.
And that track can be played that way. I've seen it played other ways, but that track, it can be played in that
That's
track.
actually, I think, one of
With
the
all those
only
characters.
ways I've seen it.
Really?
Maybe.
Oh, we didn't do it that way before. Or at Stageworks, we did not do it that
No,
way.
because you had a lot of people.
We had a lot of people
in that
involved.
cast.
Yeah.
But when you pay people, you have
to
less.
use them.
So Blake Jackson was all those people.
Oh, cool.
He was wonderful.
Yeah.
Chiffon was Marlene
Hey.
Danielle, but she was only Chiffon for 2 weeks because then she was replaced by Leilani Jones.
I know that name.
And then Crystal was these are the urchins. Crystal was Jennifer Lee Warren, and then Renette was Sheila K. Davis. And then we have
Ronette.
fuck.
Of the Ronettes.
I don't fucking know.
They are the Ronettes. Anyway,
I thought they
continue.
were the urchins.
They're the urchins, but when they're like dressed up and fancy, they're the Ronettes. Continue.
Oh, same things I don't fucking know. Audrey 2, the voice is Ron Taylor, and then the Audrey 2 manipulation, aka what James was, and wino number 1 is Martin P. Robinson.
He sings "Then You Go Downtown" in the Downtown song. That's wino number 1.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
So, I thought that was. I guess I thought that was also the voice of Audrey 2.
It depends on the
Depends
track.
on, I guess it's who they feel like they should be doing it. I did write down some notable productions of it, the more recent productions, which is the 2019 Off-Broadway revival, which Chelsea has pulled up on her phone right now on Spotify.
That's right.
The previews began at the West Side Theater in September 17, 2019, and that is where our good old Jonathan Groff is Seymour. Gideon Glick replaced him from November 5th to the 17th, and then will assume the role permanently January 21st, 2020. Oh, so he just assumed it.
Okay.
Huh. Well, don't go if you want to go see Jonathan Groff. Don't
Is
go
this
see
the
it.
one with what's her face as Audrey?
Tammy
from Smash?
Blanchard? No, yes. Tammy Blanchard is Audrey. Christian Borle is
that's not what I was
Oren,
thinking.
and then you're thinking of something else. Tom Allen Robbins is Mr. Mushnick, and Michael Meyer directs with the choreography by Eleanor Scott. Lighting designer, Bradley King. Lighting design, I have been seeing projections and lighting design used more and more for this
In Little Shop?
production.
Yeah. That was used in the original.
I think Kevin Loney did the stages one. He's done a lot. He works with my friend up in New York.
Yeah.
And then also the 2019 Pasadena Playhouse, which opened September 17th and went through October 20th of 2019. So literally previews in New York for the revival, as well as Pasadena opened literally on the same day. And that was directed by Mike Donahue, and the cast was actually George Salazar as Seymour. Wow. Salazar as Seymour. Seymour. I can't do it.
It's because of the champagne.
It's like Andre's coming after my tongue. George Salazar as Seymour, MJ Rodriguez as Audrey, Amber Riley as Audrey 2, love that, Kevin Chamberlain as Mr. Mushnick, and Matthew Wilkes as Oren. So Kevin Chamberlain I just saw in Wicked, and he moved over to Pasadena to do the show.
I mean, they run through people in Wicked like
no one's
used
business.
tampon.
Like a used tampon.
I mean, they run through people in
That's-
Wicked like last night's dinner.
my
they run through people
immediate thought was soaking a tampon in coconut oil.
You're welcome. You will never get that out of your head.
Jesus Christ. But do you know who MJ Rodriguez is?
No.
So MJ Rodriguez was in Poise. So you said something about Smash, but she was in Poise. She is actually known for her role as Blanca Rodriguez Evangelista in Poise, where she is among the largest cast of transgender actors to be starring in a series.
Is that on a TV show?
Mhm,
I think I've
Poise.
heard of Poise. I don't know if I've ever seen it.
It's a drama.
All right. Okay.
But
Interesting.
she was also Angel in Rent, and that was kind of her big show and after the transition.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, Audrey. And then there's the film adaptation that took place in 1986. It was directed by Frank Oz, and the writer was only noted as Howard Ashman, and that starred Rick Moranis as Seymour, and then Ellen Greene from the Off-Broadway production as Audrey, Vincent Gardenia as Mr. Moshnick, Steve Martin as Orrin, Scrivello, DDS. Not DDM.
DDS. That's
DDS.
right. You're right.
And the voice of Levi
Right.
Stubbs as Audrey, too. Also, Bill Murray played the small comic roles.
Yeah, he came into the dentist.
Yeah, he was Bill Murray played the small comic role of the masochist,
The masochist.
Arthur Denton. I don't know. Actually, there was two
my favorites.
endings that they had.
Yes, the film ending is different.
Yeah,
from
well, the film ending
Broadway.
was different, but then but they had filmed both of them, and then they switched to the original ending. The original ending was restored and released in the film as the director's cut in 2012. A new song for Audrey 2, Mean Green Mother from Outer Space.
Uh-huh.
Where did our Mean Red, did you just come up with that?
He
No,
came up.
because
It was Mean Green.
No, I've heard the musical, and like I've heard the stuff, and Mean Green Mother from Outer Space.
That's
is a
the
song.
original name of the song.
So,
So
it's a
you-
red one, so it was Mean Red Mother from. It was bad. It was
Yeah,
a
I
bad
messed
reference
up.
to
So,
the musical.
Yes. Well, no, Mean Green Mother from Outer Space is not in the musical.
It was a new
in-
song.
It's in the music, or it's in the.
It's in the movie.
It's in the film.
movie.
It's in the
That was
film.
like, so if you've seen the film after 2012,
Yeah.
you saw it with the new.
And it goes, I'm a
was
mean
in-
green mother from outer space,
It
and
was in the
I'm
old
bad.
one as well, because I remember seeing that in the original one. They changed the ending for the 2012 director's release, but Mean Green Mother was always in the movie,
Not in the musical, though.
not in the musical, not the onstage musical.
It's not on the onstage musical.
You don't really know what the plant is in the
I
onstage musical, and in the
see.
movie they wanted to tell people it was an alien.
Yeah.
So that's
my
what that
notes
song-
are-
Well, you find out it's an alien in the end of the stage musical.
Sort of.
Yeah.
That makes
Oh,
sense. But it was
okay.
nominated for the Academy Award for Best Original Song.
Hey.
So it must be a good
Mean
song.
green mother
is a
from
good-
outer
it's
space,
very
and
catchy.
I'm bad,
Very
and I'm
catchy.
bad.
I feel like that's like a generator song. You put all the best songs into a generator
Yeah.
and it spits that shit out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So that's what I've got.
Good job.
And with that, do we take a short break?
Short break.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Not a tall break.
Bye-bye.
Short break.
So the new garage band has like a metronome. Also, I'm gonna take my notes and I'm gonna
Oh.
toss.
She just straight
Oh,
up
it's on
threw
the
her
ground.
notes.
up later.
No,
Clean it up.
no.
Celeste doesn't get home
Celeste
till
is-
Sunday.
I know. I have until Sunday to clean it up.
Yeah. Your foot's
I
gonna
know.
get
I
stuck
know
under the
where
chair.
my foot is.
Okay. It's my turn to talk now.
Wait, no, it's not because
Shit.
you'll never be your turn.
Damn it.
James leaves. Drink.
Oh, that's it.
So one of the reasons we're doing Little Shop this week is because my good friend, Mr. Andy Lecture, in Greenville, South Carolina, don't stalk him, asked me to be in his wedding party. I know, right? And the musical that means the most to him is Little Shop of Horrors. And I texted Chelsea, I was like, do you know Little Shop? Because I don't. She was like, yeah. I was like, do you want to do Little Shop? She was like, sure, because it was this or Cats. We chose
We
this.
decided this. Neither of us wanted to see the new movie, so sorry.
And so I told Andy, because he hasn't listened to the podcast yet, that I would give him the answer on the podcast. So Andy, I'm going to tell you that I may or may not be in your wedding party at the end of the podcast.
You have to listen
You have
and
to
wait.
listen now.
You have to watch. You have to listen to the whole thing.
You know, I had that like whole thing scripted out in my head, and I just delivered it completely wrong.
You know what? That's what alcohol does. So welcome to Alcohol and Musicals right now, also known as
Wines and Dolls.
Wines and Dolls. And with that, we're talking about Little Shop of Horrors. I thought I'd play the beginning here.
Okay, what was it?
Wrong.
Andre,
Okay.
Bad conductor.
This is one of the most overdone musicals in musical theater history. But I just love it. I've been in the show twice. I've never played Audrey. Little Shop of Horrors is the most overdone musical in the history of musical theater. I gotta say, it's done by all the high schools. I did it in high school. I have never played Audrey. I would just like to sit on that for a second.
Hey Chelsea, what role do you want to play?
Audrey.
Do you want to be
Audrey, yeah.
in
Little Shop of Horrors.
You want to be
Audrey?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think she wants to be Audrey.
I think so. But I gotta say, I have learned several other tracks in Little Shop. I've really, really enjoyed my time doing Little Shop. I would love to someday be Audrey.
What?
Audrey.
2?
Nope. Audrey, the original. Yeah. The blonde. The dumb blonde.
I thought she was redheaded.
No, she's supposed to be blonde. She is like described as dumb blonde. So this musical is described as a quote-unquote horror rock comedy. Act 1. We're going to start Act 1. Off stage, there's a voice. That, oh, after that drum roll thing.
James?
And the ladies, no, he's gone. Drink. The drum roll happens and the ladies start singing. The Ronettes at this point start to sing. They're the urchins, the 3 urchins. And it opens with him telling us this offstage voice that the human race is going to face a deadly threat. So already we have set you up for something fun, right? And that voice is usually also the voice of the plant. So irony here, I guess. So I did this in high school. So, but I also did it with Stageworks, the one that Emily saw a few years ago. That she thought it was weird that we had a drag queen.
I never said it was weird. I thought it was interesting, but it was also my first exposure to Little Shop. And like I liked the modern dancing.
In our production at Stageworks, we had, instead of a puppet, instead of actually in the show, in the musical, they used 4 different puppets of different sizes. Instead, we used a human and had him as a drag queen. So this drag queen would add green tentacles. So we had dancers that would connect to each other and add on. And we had more and more dancers in green suits, basically adding on to a drag queen that was the voice of Audrey too in that version. So it was a really interesting, different concept, but I can see being put off by it if you haven't seen it with the puppet.
Exactly.
If you haven't seen it with a puppet originally, this was a new take on it.
Honestly, I actually kind of like the drag queen.
I do too. Taylor Fisher was a beautiful drag queen. I thought our director was really brilliant with that thought. It wasn't the first time I'd seen something like that, though. I will be honest. I saw a production of Little Shop in Boston at the conservatory when I went up for an audition years ago. And a friend of mine, Trey Harrington, and I went and saw it together. And it was really good. Very well done. It was a student production directed by a student, and it was a little girl who stood in a potted, not a little girl, but she was a college student dressed in a little girl clothing with pigtails. That's how the plant started off. She stood inside of a pot. And that was Audrey too. Yeah, really cute. And then that girl, as she ate people, they dressed in green and they became the tentacles like we were in Stageworks, and they connected to her, and she became sexier and sexier throughout the production. By the end, she had like clothes hanging off of her. She was wearing glittery red. It was like the drag queen that we had.
That's really neat.
I thought that was a really cool production, and she could belt her face off, so she did it well.
She's like you.
You're
a little girl who could belt her face off.
I don't know about that, but thank you. So we've got this opening. And then the girls, the Ronettes is what they're called, but they're also known as the street urchins. There's this reality of these 3 women who were supposed to be African-American females who are like a 60s doo-wop group. Like
Motown.
Like Motown, yes, thank you. Motown, Supremes, basically. They are the Ronettes. Anyway, the Ronettes come in and they're dressed beautifully and they're helping tell the story with this voice behind them. Then it goes right into it, the next song, Little Shop of Horrors. Or well, it's the same song, but they are singing Little Shop of Horrors. So it's, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
That was my favorite part too.
I like that part.
Yeah. So anyway, it is so much fun. I love.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
The other version just usually goes a little faster. I love it so much when they slow it down. So they tell us about how there's something creepy that's about to happen. You better sit back and relax and watch and have a great time. Then we open up the actual scene to the town, to Skid Row. This is Skid Row, and we're introducing all these characters. It's also called Downtown. And we are introduced to Seymour Krelborn, a wiry, nerdy flower shop worker in Skid Row. When I did it at Stageworks, it was Talon.
That's why I went, was because of Talon.
Because Talon,
That's
yeah.
actually why I went.
Hey, Talon.
Alarm, something,
Alarm
goes off at 7.
Yeah.
The
And that's-
logical word.
Yeah. Right. The yeah. So we meet Seymour Krelborn, who will always be Talon to me. Which I'm about to do a show with Talon, 2 shows with Talon. I'm really excited.
You're doing masterclass in Flat Stanley.
And Flat Stanley. Yep. Baby. And then we're introduced also to Audrey, who sings the song Skid Row from her point of view, about how all the guys are jerks to her, and she's treated really badly. Maybe it's because she talks like this, and she always plays victim.
No, we can't discriminate against people's voices, but we
Fine.
can discriminate against people who play victim.
She definitely plays victim. Like as much
She
as
puts
I
herself
want
into those situations. But maybe she's not smart enough to get out of them.
she's just not smart. She's just not smart. She puts herself into bad situations. She doesn't know how to get out of them. But maybe that's like all she knows, and that's not her fault.
Which I think is what she sings about.
In
Later.
later, maybe.
I'm jumping the gun.
She just.
Oh, is this when they sing, I'm just being a dick, because you do that whenever I
do,
record.
yeah.
You always go, is that when they do?
that when
Is
they
this
do?
when, do you build a snowman? Do you want to build a snowman?
Don't get ahead of me, bitch. That's what you say to me when I get ahead of you.
No,
So
stop.
in Downtown, you meet everybody in the show.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
meet
yeah.
all the chorus members who end up being like Wino number 1.
I know,
and 2.
actually, Wino number 2, I think, is one of my favorite parts in the show.
I think it's
Because
Wino
it's the
number
person
1.
no, Wino number 2 is always the person, isn't it Wino number 1 or one of the Winos is the one who ends up in the puppet for the rest of the show.
Yes.
And so that person always
It's the person
hilarious.
who plays. Maybe it is the person who plays the voice of Audrey, who is Wino number 1. They are called Wino number 1 because they pop out of the garbage can in the very beginning of this song and go, "Then you go."
So it's the bass, yeah.
the bass,
You know,
so
how
that
many
ends up
true
being-
basses you actually get.
Yeah, and then it ends up being the voice of Audrey too for the rest of the show. So we've got winos, we've got people on Skid Row. Skid Row is called Skid Row because like skid mark of, I don't know if that's why it's called Skid Row, but I think of it as like the skid mark
there's
of the town.
Skid
So
rows
it
there's
is
skid
a
rows
place.
in every town, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the skid mark of the town. It's not a great place to be. You don't want to be there.
Skid
So,
marks
skid
are
mark
a poopy term
that go
as
on your
well.
underwear. Here, I'll play a little. Skid Row. They're just talking about how bad Skid Row is.
Delicious.
Poor. So
Oh my life.
Seymour introduces him. Everybody gets to introduce themselves. Basically, Seymour and Audrey introduce themselves.
Yeah.
Everybody gets to sing in it. Everyone is in this number. It's a great number. Such a great number. And then we meet Audrey, the pretty dumb blonde, who also works at the flower shop with Seymour, and Seymour is in love with her. We find out it's a secret love. And Seymour and Audrey both work for Mr. Mushnick, who's the owner of the flower shop. He is cranky, Jewish flower shop owner. It is never said that Mushnick is Jewish, but it is implied in one of the songs that he sings because it's a very what is the type of music that you hear?
Yiddish?
Not even
It has
Yiddish.
like that
It's a
Fiddler
on the Roof-esque type of music.
This kind of the
Hold on, wait. It's on the tip of my tongue.
I don't know what it's called either.
No, I do know what it's called. Hold on. Klezmer. It's very Klezmer-esque. So Mushnick is
What's the type of song?
Klezmer. He's Jewish, and so that it's very Klezmer-esque.
Or it's like klezmer is what.
Klezmer band is the type of music
They
that you
don't-
hear at a Jewish celebration.
But they don't actually explicitly say that Mushnik is Jewish.
They don't. I don't think so. But a lot of times he's played that way, which is great. I love the music that is in that song that he sings. It's very klezmer-esque, very Fiddler on the Roof-esque. So Seymour, at the end of downtown, talks to Mr. Mushnik and is bringing Mushnik, we've been drinking, and has found a mysterious plant during the total eclipse of the sun. Bing! So there's a whole song about how he finds this plant.
I want to point out that
song.
they probably know we've been drinking.
Whatever. She's really been drinking. So the song that Seymour is talking about, it's my favorite song in the whole show. Are you ready for what
What's
it's
it called?
called? It's called Dadoop.
Shocking.
You remember that total eclipse of the sun a couple of weeks ago?
Dadoop.
I was
So that's my favorite song in the whole show. It was so much my favorite song in the whole show that I actually made my email address.
Chelsea Dadu.
It was dadoop@gmail.com. It was changdadoop@gmail.com. For a long time, that was my old email address. It is no longer active, so don't try to email me at changdadoop. But part of what they say is Seymour says, I found this mysterious plant in a Chinese store in this weird place in downtown, and they say Chang Dadoop. The background singers, the Ronettes, sing Chang Dadoop. Anyway, they're just doing dadoops and like nope-see doo and good for you. So they're just like background to what he's saying, and it's a really cute song.
My
Go listen to
mind keeps
Dadoop.
going to Family Guy's. They make a joke about it in one of the episodes.
Probably. I mean, Family Guy
Shocking.
makes
They make a joke
fun of
about
everything.
like Little Shop. I think like across 4 or 5 different episodes.
I wouldn't be shocked by that. So he finds this mysterious plant. Seymour finds this mysterious plant. And during a total eclipse of the sun.
Total eclipse
of the sun. Nope. Total eclipse of the sun. Bing!
Turn around.
Nope. So anyway, he brings it back to... God damn it. So he brings it back
Just
to
so
Mushnik's
funny.
shop. She's so funny. Seymour brings back this plant, this mysterious plant, to Mr. Mushnik's shop after he finds it. And puts it in the window. And Mushnik's like, that thing is so weird. It's so strange. There's no way that that's going to, like, get us. It's not going to, like, get any notice.
No one wants that.
Nobody wants that thing. And then as soon as he says it, this guy walks in and like repeats what he just said. And he's like, oh, what's that mysterious and strange plant in the window? He's like, nobody wants a mysterious, strange plant. And he walks in and he's like, oh, what's that mysterious and strange plant in the window? I just must have it. Oh, you know what? While I'm here, let me buy 12 dozen roses. So business starts to pick up because this mysterious plant is in the window. And things start to go well. And Seymour is like, okay. Okay. He tells his whole story in the opening song about how he's always been poor and he's always lived on the floor of this plant shop, and Mushnik never adopted poor, but like Mushnik never adopted him. He just like brought this kid in and basically used him for slave labor. So Mushnik is not a good guy in this show. He's not supposed to be a good
He's
guy.
very motivated by money.
Motivated by money, yes.
I am too.
Same. Same. Speaking of which, Patreon members, if you would like to become... Okay, we're going to save that
If you
for
would
the
like
end.
to become a Patreon member, you can watch.
We're
all of
motivated
this
by
on
money.
Film.
Hi.
Hey.
So
Just wait.
we're moving on. Seymour is told by Mushnik in that moment, oh my God, you have to take care of this plant. It's bringing people in. So he's like, okay, cool. And then immediately the plant wilts. And this is puppet number 1. This is a teeny puppet where Seymour can, he puts the puppet down on a table typically, and you put your hand, like there's a
Up through the
puppeteer who puts their hand up through the table and controls the plant. And it just kind of wilts. It goes down. So this puppet thing, this little plant, wilts. And Mushnik says, you've got to take care of this. Close up the shop and blah, blah, blah. You do nothing but take care of this plant. Do it. So everybody leaves. And Seymour sings Grow For Me. And I'm going to play here. I don't know.
Oh God, how I missed you. Apart, how you tease. Now please.
Yes, Kristoff.
Yes, okay. So he's singing to the plant, which many of us do. Do I need to go check on them?
I don't know.
They're fine.
They're okay. That's scaring me.
Sorry. So Seymour is trying to get this plant to come back to life because Mushnik has basically said, you need to make this happen. It's wilting. You need to take care of it. And he's like, I don't know what to do. I've been trying to take care of this thing for weeks and it's just not happening. It doesn't respond to water. It doesn't respond to anything. And then he pricks himself on some roses and starts to bleed. And he like sucks on his finger like that, like we all do whenever we get poked and
I
we
usually
start
just go
bleeding.
and smear it on somebody.
I smear. Okay.
Just kidding.
Same. I'm like, let's be blood
Ew,
buddies.
ew.
Ugh.
That's how diseases
That's
are
how
spread.
diseases happen. So he's like sucking on his finger, going, trying to suck the blood off of his finger, and all of a sudden the plant comes to life and starts going, sucking at him, like mine.
It's like Olivia down there. Mine?
So he realizes what the plant wants is the blood from his finger, so he starts to like put it over the plant, and he's like, oh, okay, this is what you want. I'll give you a few drops if that'll appease. Now please, please grow for me. So that's what's going on in that number at the end. And so as soon as he's done feeding the plant, he leaves, and then this magical music happens and the plant grows a little bigger. So this puppet, the hand goes up through the table and the plant gets a little bit bigger. Then we cut to the next scene, which is back in the shop. And sorry, I have to look at my notes. And then the Ronettes, I keep wanting to call them the chiffons because I love chiffon. And no, it's the Ronettes.
It's the
They're singing, it's the other girl. They're singing, You Never Know. Donna goes to show you never know. So it's kind of a Caribbean style song. I'll play it a little bit for you. Let me go forward.
Well, how'd I do?
You was great on the radio, Seymour. You sounded.
Oh, that's right. So Seymour goes on the radio. I forgot. Seymour
Yeah, he
goes
gets,
on the
like, super
radio.
famous,
He gets,
right?
Yeah, he's
mostly
getting famous.
About as famous as
we will be.
We are not right now.
Yeah, that's right. So he gets a little famous right now, just a little bit, like within his community. And then the urchins, the Ronettes, they are in street clothes at this point. They are the urchins, like sitting on the stoop and stuff, hanging out, and skipping school. And they're like, Seymour, you were so good on the radio. And Audrey's like listening to him on the radio. And then she has to go meet her boyfriend, who we'll meet in just a second. So they're singing, they're like, ooh, don't it go to show you never know how Seymour was in a slump and now he's no longer a chump. He's no longer batting zero. He's a hunk, and like all this stuff. So it's...
So you never know. Sit down, Seymour. Now we're gonna sing for you. All the world just to screw him.
Screw him.
Big wham pow. Now they interview him. And think never to put his remarks on the air.
Oh, so good. So, Donna gotta show you never know. Oh. So anyway, they're singing. I didn't do that well.
I liked
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. I appreciate it. So he gets some praise in this song. And then he runs into Audrey. And Audrey is... she's dreaming. She's a dreamer. She's talking about, wow, wouldn't it be nice if I had...
And I'm not the only one.
They're talking about their perfect future, and she's talking about how she wants to live somewhere.
That's red?
No,
That's purple?
maybe.
Or is it green?
It's green. It's somewhere that's green, which I didn't have any sour apple candy mixer for our
I guess we could
drinks
put some of
tonight.
those Sour Patch.
Oh, I guess we
things.
could. And then we would make it a drink, somewhere that's green drink.
Ooh, fuck. Okay,
I know.
trademark. That's ours.
Trademark. Don't take it.
I'm writing
Anyway,
it down.
so she sings somewhere that's green, which is foreshadowing for the end of the show. It's foreshadowing. Yeah. She wants to live somewhere that's green. What she's talking about is she wants, I know, I'm so brilliant.
Oh my gosh, I never. I
it's
saw
my
it 3 times.
idea.
I had no fucking idea.
So she's talking about somewhere that's green, which may I say, Kristen Malachowski. I can't say her name when I'm drinking.
You know,
Kristen played
saw
Audrey.
her, yeah.
That's why you think Audrey is a redhead, because the first time you saw it, she was a redhead, because that's Kristen. Kristen was brilliant.
That girl can act like
Yeah.
no one's business.
Oh,
She is
Kristen,
brilliant.
don't cut that. Let her know that. Kristen,
brilliant.
you are a brilliant actress. Just so good. So good.
So good.
Like, I would probably have a little bit of a hard time playing, like, balancing the dumb and the sexy and the
Really?
the fun. No,
Yeah.
really. It's a lot. It would make me anxious to play sexy, because I don't think of myself as sexy. I think of myself as cute.
But she's also like this hilarious sexy. So it's someone who's like stands on stage and people are like, oh, that's sexy. But then when she tries to be, it's almost funnier. I don't know. I can see why she
If
was
you
anxious.
try-
She is entering a role to be objectified or whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that is not comfortable to enter that role, to be objectified as Audrey. That's a great way to put it. Thank you. To enter that role as Audrey should be, objectified as a dumb blonde, would create a lot of anxiety in me. So she's saying somewhere that's green, which is foreshadowing again. Guess why?
The tract house that we share.
This is Tammy.
Somewhere that's green.
Well, so she's singing somewhere that's green. I want, like, the picket fence. I want the house. I want the husband. I want the kids. You know, all of that. That's her somewhere that's green. Her ending somewhere that's green is not what you think. So then
Ooh.
Audrey, too, at this point has gotten a little bigger. When we did it at Stageworks, I was in a green morph suit. I know. That's why you didn't
I
recognize me.
don't know how much your budget was for those morph suits, but damn.
It was
There was a lot of them on stage.
a lot of morph suits.
We saw a lot of things on
Carlos
stage.
was in that, too.
I think I did know that.
That's the first time I ever worked with Carlos Guzman. He's a beautiful dancer, and he lifts me. I did pull a butt muscle once, but he did a great job of helping me recover from it.
butt muscle.
Butt muscle. I pulled my butt muscle.
You did a stretch.
Anyway, so the plant is getting bigger at this point. So there's another puppet. There's like 4 puppets in total. At this point, the plant's a little bigger in the original Broadway production. When we get into Closed for Renovations, and this is one of my favorite songs. I'm not going to play it, but I just love it because it's sort of a patter song. We're closed for renovations. So then we learn about a new character, Orin Scrivello.
Ooh.
DDM?
You said DDM, and then I said DDS, and in your notes you say DDR.
I didn't do it right.
DDR.
Orin Scrivello, DDS. He's a dentist. He's Audrey's boyfriend, and she after they sing. Ooh, excuse me. Closed for Renovations. Seymour gets a little bit like on the brave side, and he says, "Hey, you want to like go hang out or something?" She's like, "Oh, thanks
Just
for
like that.
inviting." Oh, hey,
You
and she's like,
just dropped
and then
halfway.
she's like, well, Audrey's like, "Oh, I can't. I gotta meet my boyfriend. His name's Orin Scrivello, DDS." But
That was excellent.
thank you,
You should go on your
thank you.
vocal. What is that voiceover reel?
My voiceover reel.
Orin Scrivello,
DDS. So she has to call him Orin Scrivello DDS. That's his full name. DDS is the like the not numbers. It's the
Dentist.
ABCs for dentist.
Jesus Christ, Chelsea.
So it's been alcohol day.
It's
So
been-
anyway,
have
he's
you
a
been
dentist.
alcohol day?
He's alcohol day.
I'm
So
sorry.
we learn now that Audrey has a boyfriend.
Bitch.
And
What is
he.
bitches with boyfriends?
We learn also that he's abusive. He's a motorcycle rider, which I'm not saying all motorcycle riders who wear leather are abusive. I'm not saying that, but he is. And he loves to cause pain. So when we meet Orin Scrivello, he sings a little bit about being a dentist and how he is a sadist and he likes to cause this pain. Let me see if I can find it.
Much like all dentists? Ooh.
When I was younger, just a bad little kid, my mama noticed funny things I did.
This is Christian Borle, isn't
Like
it?
shooting puppies with a
I think.
BB gun. I'd
Yeah, it is
poison
him.
guppies, and when I was
That's his
done,
little twang.
I'd find a pussycat and
Bashing his head.
That's what my mama said.
What did she say?
She said, my boy, I someday.
Okay, I'm just gonna skip
You'll
ahead.
be a
You
dentist.
to be inhumane. Your temperament's wrong for the priesthood, and teaching would suit you still less.
Son, be a dentist. You'll be a success. Here he is, girls, the
So-
leader of the plaque. Anyway, he's a dentist, obviously, and the Ronettes help him sing about
The
being a
chiffonettes.
The chiffonettes. So when we did at Stageworks, when we did this show, Derry Heron was our dentist.
I remember Derry.
Derry had so much energy on stage at any moment. You couldn't control it. It was brilliant. He was so brilliant as the dentist. Loved it. So he's this terrible character, though. Just an abusive, sadistic dentist who wants to cause pain to everybody who comes into his office or anybody who he's in a relationship with. Audrey. So, everybody has seen this guy, and he was played by Steve Martin in the movie, which was hilarious.
I'm sure.
It was just fucking hilarious.
I haven't
you
seen
not
the movie.
seen it?
I've seen a
Yo,
cut of
oh
Ellen.
my God.
Is that her name?
I don't know.
The one who played Audrey. I remember seeing her because she's like 6 feet tall, and she kind of she forged the path for Audrey's to be not your typical cookie cutter musical theater actor. She was like a very tall woman.
Yeah, she
with
did
kind of
not
a strange voice.
sing well. It was great.
And
It worked
but she
well.
could act the shit out of it.
Yeah.
And so she kind of paved the way for people who are not chorus line.
So he picks her up on the bike and is like pushing around saying, "Get on the bike, woman." And she calls him Oren. She doesn't call him by his full name. So he gets real pissed off. He's like, "What's my name?" She's like, "Oren Scarvello, DDS. Anyway, so he's like really shaming her. And Seymour's watching this whole thing, and he's like, "Oh, I hate that he's treating her that way." But before Oren gets on his bike and leaves with her for their date, Oren talks to Seymour and says, "Wow, that plan is like really making you famous. You should like take off and get out of this scum hole." Really, he knows that Seymour could potentially be a threat to his relationship with Audrey, so he's trying to get him out of the way. But I mean, really, I don't know if he knows how much of a threat Seymour could be. He just doesn't like Seymour, so he's trying to get him out of the way. What little he knows about him, he thinks he's just a nerd. Nerd, but he's just like in his way. So he's like, "Yeah, you should take that plant and you should go." Mushnick overhears this and says, "Oh shit, I'm gonna lose all the fame and fortune if Seymour leaves with this plant. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna adopt Seymour
Because I'm a
as my son."
selfish bastard.
He is a selfish bastard. So in order to keep Seymour around, he sings this song to him about, "Would you like to be my son?"
What's this sound called?
Kind of klezmer.
There it is.
Very Fiddler on the Roof-esque.
3 words with the ring of fate. So say you'll cooperate with me.
So he's trying to. It's a business merger is what he's going for. Mushnick invites Seymour to be his son. Basically, it's a business merger for him. He's saying, "Be my son. I'm gonna officially adopt you. You've been sleeping on the floors of my flower shop for years."
This is not like a cupboard under the
That's
stairs.
basically what Seymour is Harry Potter.
He is Harry Potter.
He is Harry Potter,
He's
except
just
he
not
has no
the
powers.
And he's not the chosen one.
He's not the chosen
And
one.
I think, don't they all die?
Spoiler alert. So Seymour says, "I don't know." And he's like, "Yeah, be my son." So he convinces him. Mushnick convinces Seymour to be his son, be his business partner. And now it's Mushnick and Son is the name of the flower shop. So now half of what Mushnick owns, Seymour owns. Half of what Seymour owns, Mushnick owns. So Seymour can't go anywhere. So half of the plan is owned by Mushnick. So then Seymour goes over to Audrey later in the evening to feed Audrey, but he doesn't have any more blood in his finger. And he said, "I'm sorry, maybe I'll try to get you a hunk of meat later tonight. I'll see what I can do." And then we find out that Audrey, too, which I don't think I mentioned, was named for Audrey, the girl that he's in love with. Duh. Audrey, too, can talk. Audrey can talk. There's a new song in here, and I don't know what it is. Sudden Changes.
Sudden Changes. Huh.
I don't know this
Alan
song.
Menken, I feel like he's like, this needs a new song. Seems like everything he's done recently has a new song.
I'm his son. Sudden changes surround me.
Oh, I remember this.
Oh, it's like
Lady
an
Luck
interlude.
came and found me.
Anyway, he's all excited
Wow,
about...
killing it.
He's excited. I forgot about that song. He's excited about being Mushnik's son, and then finds out that Audrey, too, can talk. What the fuck? And Audrey, too, is saying, I need you to feed me more than just blood.
Nibbler.
More than just your blood. I need you to feed me a lot of blood if you want me to grow big, bitch. Basically is what Audrey 2 says. Demands blood and promises all of Seymour's dreams will come true if he delivers. Seymour refuses, but then witnesses Audrey's boyfriend, Orrin, beating her up in the alleyway and says, you know what, fuck it. Yeah, I think I'm going to give you what you want. And they have this really cool duet at the end of Feed Me. So it starts off with the plant saying, you need to feed me. And he's like, no, I don't know.
Does it have to be human? Does it have to be mine? Where am I supposed to get it?
Ooh, sexual. Ooh, that's right, boy. You can do it. So it starts off real sexual. At the end, he's like, I don't know. And then he sees Orrin beating up Audrey in the alleyway, and he's like, oh, I know where I can get you something fresh. It's my favorite part. The guy sure looks like plant food to me. Guy sure looks like plant food to me. So anyway.
I wanted some like Dream On sequence in there somehow. That's
Anyway.
high A. That's what I wanted.
Thank you. So Seymour says, yeah, okay, I'm gonna kill Orrin and I'm gonna feed him to you because he's a bad guy. So the plant says because this guy is beating women, you can justify killing him. So he justifies murder.
I mean,
I'd be okay with it too. Orrin's not a good guy. So we are not promoting murder.
we're also not promoting.
We're not promoting women getting beaten.
I'm fixing the couch, sorry.
If you need to reach out to us about that kind of thing, please email us at winesandolls@gmail.com. So, we will help you. Orrin is in for it, basically.
Ooh.
Yeah. So they've just justified, the plant has convinced Seymour to kill Orrin and has justified it. So Seymour sets up an appointment with the dentist, with Orrin, like as an appointment, like I'm gonna go get my teeth fixed. And he goes to Orrin's office later in the evening and he pulls out a gun on him once he gets in his office. And nobody else is around, of course, because it's later in the evening.
Yeah.
Pulls out this gun and Orrin's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna kill me? He's like,
just like that.
What are you gonna do? You're
He
gonna
sticks
kill me?
his like top teeth out.
So Orrin's not threatened, duh. So he's like, hold on, let me just look in your mouth. And he looks in Seymour's mouth and he's like, whoa, this is gonna take all day. This is like, he's getting turned on by how awful Seymour's teeth are. And let's remind ourselves here that Seymour's poor. He's never been to a dentist before. This is the reason why I'm afraid of the dentist, is because I also am poor. I don't want the dentist to look at my mouth and say,
you know, the
"Whoa."
dental insurance is $20 a month, right?
10, but I did it
Okay.
last year. It was just not worth it to me. Anyway, so
I have great teeth.
Orrin is so excited. I do too. Orrin
There
is
you go.
so excited to work on Seymour's mouth. He's like, you know what this calls for? A little bit of nitrous. So he goes, he is addicted to this laughing gas, and he puts this mask on. And I gotta tell you, in high school, we couldn't figure out a design for the laughing mask, so I gave them my I used to get bronchitis all the time, and I would have to take what was called as like breath treatments or breathing treatments, and I would have to put this mask over my face.
Oh, it was like a
and
nebulizer.
Nebulizer, yeah. It was
Yeah.
like connected to a big machine,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Yeah. So I would do this nebulizer. So I was like, well, I have a nebulizer at home. We could like use that and trick it out. So we did. And the guy who there's this guy who sold us our nebulizer. He knows what they are. He came to the show and he was like laughing the whole time because he's like, yeah, that's not going to kill you. So anyway,
It's like water vapor.
like water vapor, basically. He's like, that's not going to kill you. So Oren puts this mask on and it gets stuck on his head. He can't get it back off. And so Seymour does nothing. He watches Oren suffocate to death while he laughs himself to death. And
Stages had like a fishbowl.
I don't remember what we had for him, but I know Sam made a prop that went over his head that got stuck.
Yeah.
So it was fun, and I love that part because actually the plant came out, and we took Oren and we pulled him across the stage once he had died. We kind of like did this push-pull thing with him as he was dying. So it was fun, and he's laughing through the whole song as he's talking about how, hey, I'm about to die.
This is the song
No, but really,
that Paula
it's
did.
just the gas. You got to take this off of me. It's called Now, also just the gas. So he's like, take it off of me now. I'm just laughing because of the gas. Please don't be, don't be fooled by my laughter. I really am in danger here. I'm gonna die. So I'm not gonna play it, but it's a funny song. So he dies. Oren dies in his dental office, and Seymour didn't have to do anything wrong, so technically he's not in the wrong. So he chops up Oren's body parts, puts it in a bag.
wrong.
No, he didn't kill him though. He just chopped
just
him up.
chopped up a
It's
body
like-
that he okay.
It's like finding
I
I can't really compare it to anything. So he found he just happened to find this dead body in a dental office.
loaf of bread.
Yeah. You're just gonna take it.
God damn it.
You know what? So he took his loaf of bread named Oren and chopped it up into pieces.
Loaf of
and
bread,
fed
DDS.
DDS. And fed it to his plant, Audrey 2.
Goes casual
And
evening.
that is the end of Act 1 is Audrey 2 eating Oren.
Creepy thing to be happening. Amen.
Yep. I don't remember who played who, but in Stageworks version we had Morgan Montgomery was one of them.
I remember her.
Amanda Hart Bassett, love you, and Marianne Williams.
It was Marianne Williams. It was
Yeah, shout out, girl. She is killing it in New York. Shout out. So she was fucking fantastic in that show. Fantastic in everything she does. So moving on. That is the end of Act 1. We feed the plant, and then the curtain closes.
Well, bam, and now Emily has to go to the bathroom.
Perfect.
Bye.
Hi. Welcome back. I just ate half a bag of candy.
Oh, there's wheat in this. Shit.
Shit. Okay.
My bad.
Did you check this to see if there's wheat in it?
There probably is.
Aw, Emily's gonna have bad poops. Okay, before we get into Act 2 of Little Shop of Horrors, we need to cheers our Patreon members.
Yeah! We have Julia Hardy.
Thanks, Mom.
Hey. And we have a new Patreon member, Noah.
Hey, Noah.
Noah.
Thank you, Noah.
Thank you,
and
Noah.
thank you, Julia, for your continued support as I eat my candy, which Patreon did not pay for. We're putting Patreon monies towards other things.
I know. I'm so excited to launch our website. It might be launched by the time this comes out.
Oh,
Maybe next week. It'll depend on how busy I am this week. It'll happen.
Oklahoma.
Yeah. So we're getting our website.
Woohoo! Thank you guys.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Okay,
Act 2.
Act 2, Little Shop of Horrors.
Little shop.
Little Shop of Horrors.
That's what I call the bathroom.
The Little Shop of Horrors. Meh. Meh.
Especially after I eat gluten.
So we start off with this fun little song.
What the beat just look like? The pink, the green, the yellow, the purple. You've seen it recently? Yes, ma'am.
Oh my gosh.
What the fuck just happened?
They were all talking on phones.
For an entourage.
Flowers to the funeral home.
Leaving from St. Andrew's Roman Catholic Church at 9th and Vine.
So they have so many orders, they just can't keep up because the plant is so popular, and it's gotten even bigger now at this point. In intermission, we changed the plant to this gigantic puppet like James talked about being inside of. So we've gone through
With the
like
skinny legs.
with skinny legs. We've gone through like 4 puppets. This is like the 3rd or 4th puppet now. So this puppet's huge, and it's taken up most of the stage space. And the plant shop is big and it's bustling. They just can't handle all the stuff, so they sing the song "Call Back in the Morning." Call back in the morning, will you? Call back in the morning. That's the one that you like with all the
Oh
phones.
yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's a really great song. I love it. So Audrey confides in Seymour that she feels kind of guilty about Warren disappearing because she wanted it to happen. Because he's a bad guy. She wanted it to happen. And then they both admit their feelings for each other. In the song, Suddenly Seymour, the most iconic song from this show.
Suddenly Seymour, purified me.
Suddenly Seymour, showed me I can. I keep breaking her computer.
I'm
so-
watching the
Jesus.
lines just
Okay,
explode.
sorry, I won't.
Chelsea's the one saying that when she was listening to this on a road trip,
It's too
she had to turn
loud.
up and down the volume.
It's
and I'm
my
like,
fault.
that's because of you.
It's because of me. So they admit their feelings for each other and they kiss. Kissing. Which is really sweet, and because they've been in love. So Seymour thinks mistakenly that Audrey loves him just because the plant has put that in her head. Because the plant has promised him everything he wants. All he wants is Audrey. So, so he doesn't think that Audrey would love him without the fame and fortune at this point in the show.
Aw.
I know, right? And he's mistaken. I wrote in here, he thinks she loves him because of the plant. Not!
Oh.
So Mushnick confronts Seymour about Oren
Ooh.
because he saw Audrey and Seymour kissing. And he's like, I noticed that Oren is missing. And I noticed these little red dots all over the floor. You want to tell me about that? And so the song Supper Time starts up while Mushnick is
If you want
saying
something
all that.
removed in a hurry, it's best not to dispose of it on Skid Row. What are you talking about? This! A dentist uniform! He's got your number now.
So the plant is like, hey, he's going to turn you in.
What
And
you gonna do about it?
what you going to do about it? You gonna betray your daddy here, Mr. Mushnick? You gonna feed me some more? So this song is called Supper Time. Suppertime. Supper Time.
Not to be confused with A
Sup-
Good Man, Charlie
Sorry.
Brown's Supper Time.
Yeah, no, different song. Definitely different animal. Literally.
Yep.
So Mushnick wants Seymour to confess to his crime, or he says he'll lose everything, including Audrey.
No.
Seymour at the end of the song tells Mushnick that the receipts for the day are inside of the plant, hidden way deep inside. So Mushnick turns around and starts to head into the plant like a dumbass
Put his head in the head of the
in
plant.
the head of the plant and starts to reach in looking for the receipts because that's all he cares about is money. And then the plant eats him.
Knock.
Knock on the plant if you want to go inside and get the receipts.
Ooh. Orchestra.
So then the plant eats Mushnick. So we are 2 people eaten down now at this point.
Nom nom nom.
Nom 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 nom. So Mushnick has gotten eaten. Chomp chomp.
Chomp chomp.
Seymour now runs the shop. It is his shop. He's told Audrey that Mushnick has gone to visit his sick sister. And Audrey keeps coming in asking,
Likely story.
when's Mushnick gonna come back from visiting his sick sister? So, Seymour knows it's only a matter of time before Audrey too wants to kill again. And so these reporters start coming out. He gets more and more famous, more and more money. These reporters come out, these lawyers come out, these salesmen come out. And this is where, like, Orin Scrivello is reused. Excuse me, I'm burping now. All the champagne. Orin Scrivello is reused in this track. You've got, like, a lawyer that pops out. Then you've got the reporter that comes out.
Don't want to pay that equity.
That's
Unless
right.
you're being used.
Unless you're being used. These lawyers and reporters, and they're all offering money and fame, more fame, and Seymour keeps turning them down. So Seymour is practicing a speech for a lecture that he's going to give on botany as he goes on tour.
Botany means plants.
Plant things.
If you're a botanist, you study plants.
I learned that word because of musical theater.
I learned
Thanks,
that
Little
word.
Shop.
I learned that word because of Penelope.
So Seymour threatens to kill the plant because Audrey 2 wants more blood, fresh blood. And Seymour's like, shut up, I'm gonna kill you. Then Seymour realizes that when Audrey comes in, like Audrey the original comes in, that she comes in and talks to him, and she's like, I love you. And he's like, what if I didn't have the fame and fortune? What if this plant never existed? And he starts to sound like a crazy person. She's like, no, I'd still love you because you're Seymour, you're my Seymour. And he sounds like a crazy person. So he's like, okay, we're going to run away together. Go home. I'm going to kill this plant, blah, 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 after the Life magazine interview we have tomorrow morning. She's like, you sound crazy, Seymour. So she goes home, and he goes to bed or out or something. And she can't sleep. Audrey can't sleep. So she sings this song called Sominex. Oh, I forgot a song. It's called The Meek Shall Inherit. It's actually my favorite song, and I totally forgot about it. It's before, because he's inherited the shop. It's like the Ronettes sing it, and it's so good. So he does sign these contracts with the lawyers and everybody. Unresolved chord, because guess what? It's an unresolved moment in the show.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
Musicality.
So then Audrey walks in after this whole thing blows up, and Seymour's like, I'm really blah, 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 you love me, blah, even if the plant didn't exist, blah. And she sings this song. She comes back into the shop because she's worried about Seymour, and she couldn't sleep. So she's singing a song called Sominex / Supper Time Reprise. She's basically singing about how she took a Sominex, it's a sleeping pill, and she couldn't sleep. She was so worried about Seymour, so she had to come back and check on him. And then she starts talking to the plant. The plant.
Talking to the plant.
Very wrong here.
Something's very wrong.
Relax and go with it, dog. Do me a favor, will you, sweetheart?
A favor.
I need me some water in the worst way. Look at my branch. I'm a goner, honey.
So the plant, Audrey 2, convinces the original Audrey that he needs some water. And he's like, water me in my mouth, baby. And she goes, yeah, it's dirty.
It's water.
Very suggestive. She goes deeper and deeper. And then the vines from the plant become lively, and they wrap around her, and they bring her into the plant. The plant starts chewing on Audrey right as Seymour runs into the shop to save Audrey. He pulls her out of the plant and saves her, but it's a little late. Audrey's dying.
She's like half digested.
She's half digested at this point. She is dying. And props to Kristen on that scene, because we ran that lifting and eating scene like 20,000 times. We lifted her as the vines. We did this whole thing where we lifted her, moved her into the plant, basically, and we became the mouth of the plant. It was really cool. So props to you for trusting us, for not dropping you. So she gets eaten, and Seymour saves her and holds her in his arms as she's dying. And she sings her reprise of somewhere that's green, that she just wants to live somewhere that's green. And if that means Seymour is going to be successful by feeding her to the plant because the plant makes him successful, she wants to be a part of that. She wants to give herself to the plant to make Seymour more successful in life. So she wants to sacrifice herself to the plant and literally live somewhere that's green inside the plant. Gasp. So, gasp. So she dies in his arms and he feeds her to the plant. After that,
That foreshadowing.
oh, dude. So,
So complete now.
so complete. So the next day, Seymour is back in the shop and he's just really forlorn. And this world botanist enters into the shop and says he wants to replicate Audrey 2. He wants some snippets from Audrey 2 so he can replicate and sell Audrey 2s around the world.
Like an aloe plant.
Yes. And Seymour realizes that the plant has called this man in to complete his evil doings because he's an alien from outer space and he's mean. And so Seymour says no, and he's like, I'm going to kill you, plant. And he runs at the plant. He shoots the plant. He's trying real hard to kill it, and it just
Ever
won't
shot
die.
a plant?
You are Seymour Krelborn.
You know, all the times I try to shoot a plant, how it's still that basil out of my porch.
Damn it.
It just keeps coming back.
Son of a bitch.
That's okay, I don't
Son of a
mind
bitch.
that.
I'm gonna shoot you.
I'm gonna trim you and put you in my pasta.
So Seymour, in his attempt to kill the plant, takes a machete and starts to walk into the plant
With a machete.
with a machete, and the plant
Solid.
eats him. Props to Talon for trusting us to eat you. That was fun.
God, you're eating everybody.
We ate everybody.
Hungry bunch of bitches.
We were a hungry bunch of bitches, so it was great.
They looked thirsty in their morph suits, though.
We were thirsty in our Murph suit. So anyway, everybody's been eaten at this point, and there's just a plant in the plant shop. It's like this character walks in, and he snips a couple of pieces of Audrey 2 and goes and sells it around the world. Chiffon, Crystal, and Ronette then are in beautiful sparkling gowns.
Yeah,
they
they
are
are.
back in their Ronette versions of themselves, and they tell the ending about how the plant is taking over different parts of the world, like Des Moines and New York, and this theater, they say. And as they say, and this theater, in the original Broadway production, vines dropped down from the ceiling
I would not be into that.
the audience and started to like come out to the audience, and then vines from on stage and the plant on stage comes out into the audience, over the audience.
And the chandelier drops.
The chandelier
and the phantom,
drops, and the phantom
the opera
swings.
comes out.
Yeah, no. In the Broadway revival, they used projections.
Of course.
And they projected the plant over the audience, like it was, the audience was becoming a part of the plant. So, very cool, different ways you can do it. What we did, because we had separate people that were in green morph suits, we slithered out into the audience. And we started touching people. We got into the audience.
I see, I
and-
don't remember that, but I was sitting in the front row, and I think I had that face where I was like, don't you
Don't
fucking
touch me.
me.
Don't touch me. So anyway, that's Little Shop of Horrors.
Horrors. Horrors.
I'm always shocked when high schools do this because the plant is very sexual, very suggestive.
High
But
schools are getting a little bit more
High
and
schools are
more,
doing
like,
a lot of risque
yeah.
shit now.
I
I do
told-
Chicago.
So, I promised Andy I would give him an answer. Once if I said no at this point?
You'd be a bitch.
I'd be a huge bitch. Yes, Andy, I'll be in your wedding party.
Suddenly, Emily
Is
was
part of your Andy's
wedding party.
Then you and Philip will be
get
married.
Yes, they will.
They actually had a cat named Audrey.
Oh.
They also have a cat named Fiero.
Oh, Fiero.
Yes, Andy, I'm super excited. It'll be great. Yay. I'm assuming you listened to this
She
whole
said
thing.
yes.
She said yes. Yes, I do. I do. No, that's what you and Philip are going to be doing. Yay. I'm so excited. Ah, I just got warm and fuzzy on the inside. You know where else you can be warm and fuzzy?
On our Patreon member
On our
page.
Patreon member page. If you would like to become a patron, tiers start at $2. It's
What's cheap?
$24 a year that you can help me and Chelsea succeed in our wildest, well, semi-wildest dreams of having a website and potentially doing live shows and all their little series. We really want to do our paranormal series and whatnot. So you can check us out on Patreon at www.patreon.com/winesandolls. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Wines and Dolls. Even TikTok at Wines and Dolls. I'm not very good at being a TikTok though.
I'm not either.
Maybe we took some video footage tonight that might end up on TikTok. Is that everything?
Yeah.
Oh, if you would like to email us, you can email us at winesanddolls@gmail.com. And if whatever you are listening on, please go ahead and press that subscribe button. That will help us out. And if you feel like it, leave us a 5-star review. We love 5-star reviews. You know, if you have a 4 or less star review, you can
Leave it for another podcast.
or email us at winesanddolls@gmail.com. That'd be great. We will consider your comments.
I'm Chelsea.
And I'm Emily. And James is downstairs.
And James is downstairs.
And this is Wines and Dolls.